Hello, this is FRJ Tracing, and I'm going to explain speed boost, exactly how it works and how it will affect your roll rockets and some of your other builds out there. I think it deserves a video because of how complicated it can be. So this will be a very in-depth video on how it actually works. So the first thing I want to say is that thrusters and props are speed boost components. They are modifiers. They add to the base speed. Now, here's the thing, is that their base speed is set very low. It's 120 miles per hour. And I have a calculator here I actually have that will show you all these little calculations depending on what parts you have. And then the next thing is that wings and rudders are primary movement parts, so they provide speed boost and base speed on all axes, whereas thrusters and props are per axis. Now here's the other thing that can be confusing, is that the number you see in the top right where it says base speed and speed boost, that speed boost percentage is only calculating your forward direction. So it's only actually looking at these two cheetahs right here. And if we plug it in and we have no rudders or wings, then let's make sure all these are 0. It's 3.6%. Base speed's 120 and our axis top speed is 124.32. Now if we look at this for that direction, in the top right you'll see 120 miles per hour and 3.6% speed boost. But again, to reiterate, that is only in this direction. Now where it gets interesting is, let's keep that set of thrusters, okay? And then we put on a pair of tomahawks. Now what we're going to calculate, and I already have a speedometer on here, is the forward direction for the roll rocket, which is down. And I have the base speed for all these components is 120 miles per hour. I've actually tabulated everything, their health and all this other stuff. So it's all there. But your speed boost for this direction is going to be for 2 tomahawks. So let's put that in. 2 and 0, because I have nothing else acting in this direction. So if we look at that, our forward direction speed, considering those two, should be 139.5 and a 16% 2.5 for that direction. And then as you can see, it's a little confusing because if you look at the top right, that's not the same number. It's 3.6%. So that's the first kind of thing that a lot of people don't get, is that it's on a per axis basis for your thrusters and props. So let's see if this will work. It's really hard to fly because I don't have a stabilization rudder. Okay, so if we go forward and you look at the speedometer in the top bottom left, I'm topping out there at 139, 140, exactly, like right on the dot. I can even go in the air and it's going the same speed. And the reason why is that props are really great to show this as an example, because they ignore weight capacities. Pretty much, I mean I've made entire like 3,000 kilogram crafts and it's no problem. Thrusters on the other hand are very dependent on your weight. But nonetheless, it still calculates towards speed boost. We'll get into that a little bit deeper after I just show you the basics. So that's without any rudders or wings. Those are just tomahawks and per axis speed boost. Now the next thing is how drastically different a rudder changes how speed boost works. So if you put in an eagle rudder, and this will be my stabilization rudder. If you don't know the significance of this, watch my roll rocket build guide, and now that speed boost you would think would be calculated only for forward and the back, but that's not the case. All wings and rudders are calculated globally, so it doesn't matter which way they're pointing. So let's put that in as one eagle rudder right there. So then now my speed boost is 260 base speed with 16.59 speed boost, and I should go 303 miles per hour. And I can tell you that is going to be the case indefinitely. And if we look at our speedometer, we're topping out right there at 303 just for a brief second, but it's still, that's your top speed. It's not going to go anywhere over that. Went 304 for a second, so it's going to jump around, but nonetheless we just proved that our base speed is in fact 303.147, but it's not that exact. Jumped to 304, 302, but it's bang on. That's what you see is what you get. Now, what the heck's going on there? You just put one rudder, and now you automatically go 303 miles per hour as opposed to, what was it, 140? 135. So that's because rudders and wings are a primary movement component. Now, the next example is going to showcase how thrusters have weight capacity, because this is a full-on frame. Like, this has got guns on it. I wanted to keep them all there just so you can see, you know, this is the bare bones of what a roll rocket will operate on. So if I take these cheetah thrusters and add a couple, let's add just 4 of them, right? That'll get us off the ground. And while that's loading, let's go 0 and 4. My new speed boost is 279, but also it's really hard to like keep stable. Like if I try to pitch up, it's trying to change direction, but it has to accelerate. So mass does kind of matter for just thrusters, and they do output a force, but as you can see, it's like props completely ignore that. Also, if you look at the top speed, there you go. I topped out at 279, right on the dot. Let's look at that again. And I caught it in my eye, 279. There you go, 280, 279. So, I mean, this is within 1 mile per hour accuracy. It's really not that much different. What you see is what you get. So, I hope that helps you kind of build better roll rockets. And like I said, it's on a per axis thing. So then you have to look at, okay, my roll thrusters, if only a set of, there's 16 total here, but if you think of only half of those are going to be activating at any given time, you're going to have the 4 on, right in this case, there's a couple more hidden, but if we look at the 4 right there on the tail, the 4 on the top are going to fire on the top going to the right if I want to roll to the right. You can see that. And on the bottom ones are going to also do that, but in the opposite direction. See those? So then that counter force, if there's 16 of them, that only means 8 of them are active. So if I put 8 Panthers as active for my speed boost, because it still is considering all your rudders, and since they're global, but your thrusters are independent per axis, if I put 8 of those as active, they are only providing 280 miles per hour worth of speed boost. Now what that means is, if you have a roll rocket that's very fast, it's capable of going 340 miles per hour, 350, then the maximum angle that you can achieve in turning or yaw is 38 degrees, maybe a little bit less, but you won't be able to even get a 45 degree, assuming that your side to side and your forward direction thrusters are of equal value, which it should be not the case. So that means you've definitely invested way too much in roll thrusters. So what you kind of want to aim for, let's look at one of my other better builds. Call it my Striker X. It's very reliable, extremely nimble, and what's nice is weight capacities don't really affect it because of how light of a build it is. It's a lot of TX cubes. It's not really a big build, and it uses one prop and a whole bunch of thrusters. So let's look at my Striker X, which you can find on my CRF if you're curious. I'm not putting them on all up there, but this is one of the best ones I have, per se. So if you look at this, I have, at any given time, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thrusters active for rolling. But they're higher tier. They're leopards and pumas. And you'll start bouncing out. You can use my calculator. I'll put a link in the description. But for turning, you'll get about half. You'll get the top going one direction, the bottom going the other. So let's say there's, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 pumas active. 4 of those. And then there's 1, 2 leopards active. Okay, and then for my stabilization rudder, I have a that looks to be a falcon, and then the one in the rear that I have. Do I only have one? I have that one, and I swear I hid another one in here somehow. I got more. Yeah, I got these eagles in the back. So I have 2 eagles and a falcon. Yep. And they're only rudders. 1 falcon, because it's global. It applies to all directions. And so that's what I'm trying to reinforce here. And I know I have how many albatross here? I have 4, because I have 2 on each side. So let's put that in. So my speed boost for my turning is 289, but also the force from the bigger thrusters for pumas also gives you a more reliable for that kind of direction, for side to side, since you don't really want props for your turning or rolling, and also it's a lighter build. So that's my side to side, and then for forward direction, this is where it gets fun. Is we have the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 leopards, 5, 6 leopards. So 6 leopards and 2 pumas. And then I also have a thunderbolt, which is very important towards speed boost, so it'll jump up. And then there you go, I got 314 miles per hour, which is what this is capable of. It's not extremely fast, but it's also very agile, because the difference between 314 miles per hour and my yawing and turning rolling thrusters are about the same. And because of those, both of those axes, if you divide them, if they're very close to 1 or a little bit less than 1, you don't want them to be like below 75%, because in that case you have to slow down for then your roll and your yaw to be effective. So that's just something to consider when you're building roll rockets, is that all these axes and vectors still matter in the context of how you're moving and what speed boost is applied to that direction. So I'm going to put this in the description. I hope you learned a bit, and this was FRGH Racing on speed boost. I hope you have a good day.